This video covers section 12.5, Hyperbolas Objective 2. Find the equation of a hyperbola whose center is the origin. Example 2. Find the equation of the hyperbola with one focus at 0, -3, and vertices are at 0, -2, and 0, 2. Remember the vertices 0, 2, and 0, -2, that tells you which way your graph opens. And the foci, one of them is at 0, -3. That means the other one is at 0, 3. Okay, so seeing that the graph opens up and down, we know that it's a y squared opening in the y direction over some number squared minus x squared over some number squared equals 1. Since we see that the vertices are at 0, -2, and 0, 2, that means we end up going up and down 2 units, which makes the a equal to 2. So we have y squared over 4, or 2 squared, which is 4, minus x squared over b squared equals 1. We just have to find b. But since the focus or the foci are 3 units from the center, that means the c is equal to 3, and c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared. So we know c equals 3, we know a equals 2, so we have 3 squared equals 2 squared plus b squared, or 9 equals 4 plus b squared. 9 minus 4 is 5, so b squared is 5. Yeah, b is equal to the square root of 5, but the formula asks for b squared, so we get y squared over 4 minus x squared over b squared, which is 5. So that's our equation. Now to finish off the graph of it, we just need the proper opening. To put our corners on our box, square root of 5 is a little bit bigger than square root of 4, so let's say 2.2. So we went up and down 2 and right 1, 2.2. Like to put the corners on the boxes there, on the box. Now again, we know the graph is opening this way. To figure out how wide the graph is, this is where we set the y value equal to the y value. I did that one on the focus. We set the y value equal to the y value in the focus. So our focus sit at 0 plus or minus 3. So we're going to set y equal to plus or minus 3. We have y squared, which is plus or minus 3 squared over a squared. Sorry, we know that a squared is 4. Minus x squared over 5 equals 1. This is 9/4 minus x squared over 5 equals 1. Adding x squared over 5 to both sides, subtracting 9/4 from both sides, sorry, we subtracted 1 from both sides. That's a negative number that I had there. This should be 1. Sorry, this should be 9/4 minus 1, which that's 5/5, which gives us, let's get a common denominator, 4/4. 9 minus 4 is 5/4. Multiply both sides by 5, and you have 5 squared over 4, or x is equal to the square root of 5 squared, which is 5. Square root of 4 is 2, or plus or minus 5/2. So that means we go out 1, 2.5, down 3, over 1, 2.5, down 3, up 1, 2.5, over 3, n over 1, 2.5, 3. And so that's the proper width for the opening of this hyperbola. And this leads us to practice 2 for you to try. I encourage you to press pause in your video and work this out, and come back when you're ready to see the solution. Now that you've had a chance to work this out, I'll work this out with you. This time the vertices are on the x-axis, 4, 0, and negative 4, 0. The foci are at 6, 0, and then the other one is going to be a negative 6, 0. So we know the graph opens up from the vertices on the foci. So if the vertices are at negative 4, 0, and 4, 0, then that automatically means that the number underneath the x squared is got to be the 4. So a is equal to 4. Now we know the foci are 6 units from the center, which makes c equal to 6. And we know that c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared. A squared is 16. C squared is 36. Which makes b squared equal to 36 minus 16, which is 20, or b is the square root of 20. Now remember, the formula is for b squared, so b squared is 20, and there is the equation. But to graph it, I need to know that b is 4 times 5 is 20, or 2 square root of 5. Square root of 5 is, 2.1, 2.2, so 2 times that is like 4.2, 4.4. So in the y direction, we're going to go up around 4 point something. All right, so where these things meet, we like to draw a little box. This is going to be explained further in Objective 3 when we do our asymptotes. Find the asymptotes of a hyperbola that centers the origin. Now to finish off the graph, we just need to know the proper opening. So we come over here and we look at this vertical line through the foci. And that happens at x equal to 6. And plus or minus 6, I should say. And so you plug that in there. Plus or minus 6 squared over 16 minus y squared over 20 equals 1. And that's 36 over 16 minus y squared over 20 equals 1. Adding y squared over 20 to both sides and subtracting 1 from both sides, this is 16 sixteenths, or that's going to be 20 sixteenths. Multiply both sides by 20, and we have 20 squared over 16, or y is equal to plus or minus square root of 20 squared is 20, and square root of 16 is 4. And so that's plus or minus 5. That's a nice number. So that means that our hyperbola passes through these points, plus or minus 6, plus or minus 5. I got that backward, didn't I? The x values, oh no, I did that right. Plus or minus 6, and the y value is plus or minus 5. So at 6, we go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's the proper opening there. Down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's the proper opening there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there is the graph of that hyperbola. And this concludes the video for section 12.5, Hyperbolas. Objective 2, find the equation of a hyperbola whose center is the origin.